Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Chatbox podcast. It's episode 48 of the Chatbox podcast here today. How are you doing today? Right, let's crack on. As you know, each week I have a guest to talk about their career or their job. So let's crack on with this week's guest. It's broadcaster Paul Tasker, live from Southport. Hello, Paul. Welcome along.
Hi, Ben. We okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
All good, yeah, all fantastic, all ready to go for this wonderful interview with you.
I've done an interview in Hull, Nashville today, among places.
Wow.
Yep. Are you ready to rumble 5 questions, if that's okay?
Yep, go for it, Ben.
Question 1. Where did you start your broadcast career?
I started at a radio station called June FM back in the day. Oh, we're talking how long? I'm 34 now, and I started there when I was around 18 years old. I sent a letter to my local radio station asking if I could make the cups of tea, which they accepted. And then since then, I kind of learned the industry from making concert promos to audio production, watching what the presenters do and what people do in the background, even the simple things of logging songs for PRS, for the program manager at the time, watching them over on RCS Selector and all the clever playout systems back in the day like Dalet and Encodad. And I kind of just went from there, really. I fell in love with radio. I wanted to work in it full time. And my first ever paid job was, funny enough, putting on my radio idol, Neil Fox, a brilliant broadcaster. I'd love to meet him or speak to him if I ever get the chance. Would be a dream. But yeah, my first job was putting Neil Fox on Tech Up in the chart, if you like, from Southport, and putting on the Hit 40 UK. And they were just great days for me. You know, I used to listen to my idol every weekend with my dad. And then, my dad would say, oh, you'd never get a job in radio. But then since then, sent a letter to my local radio station, ended up getting paid for putting on my radio idol. I mean, a dream job, if you want me to be honest with you, Ben.
Same for me as well. I started this new podcast series. I started my podcast career in 2019, but then it slowed down last year, and then I kicked off the year in my other podcast series with none other than Stephanie Hurst.
Yeah, great name. I mean, great Stephanie Hurst, great broadcaster as well.
I've even had a good friend, Jonathan, and mutual friend of ours, Jonathan Gould, on as well. Gould.
Nice guy, Jonathan. Yeah, again, we go back Juice FM days when I knew Jonathan. And yeah, he was doing loads of stuff for Juice FM and doing commercial production for BKPL, I think, at the time with Bob Kiernan. But, I mean, the industry's so small. Everyone knows everyone in a kind of weird, random way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, brilliant. It's getting to know people.
That's it, exactly it. And you find that radio kind of appears to be a friend, when you listen to the broadcasters that you grew up with, you kind of feel like you kind of want to relate to them. I think that's what radio's all about, if you want me to be honest with you, having that warm sound and, kind of gelling with the radio as a friend. I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Question 2. Who were your inspirations in broadcasting growing up?
My inspirations, I mean, straight away, my radio idol, who, I'd love to speak to or meet one day. I don't think that'd ever happen. I've done everything that I want to do in radio now. If you want me to be honest with you, Ben, I've done the production, I've done the management side of it. I've built a radio station from scratch. I run a radio station in Southport, which is Mighty Radio. It's a community radio station, which is for the community of Southport and surrounding areas. But my inspiration of growing up, Neil Fox, he is my radio idol. And the reason why with Neil, a few things really. He does the network chart, well, back in the day, which was the Pepsi chart. He used to listen to that every weekend without fail with my dad. My dad would work every weekend. And it'd say, you're coming out to work with me now, Paul. So he'd drive his van all day long, delivering like stationery. And I said to my dad, I'll only come out here if I can put the chart show on. So that's what I did. I'd put, Pepsi chart on with Neil Fox. used to listen to him as a kid, and I thought I'd love to do that job one day, play music, talk to the listener, or even make jingles and make promos. And I think Neil kind of gave me that inspiration by listening to him on the radio, where he was really slick, really tight, really creative. And you could listen to him from start to finish with his interviews with the pop stars to counting down the chart. And for me, that's what gave me the interest, of getting into radio. And then magically, long behold, my first dream job paid was putting my idol on the radio, tech hopping, if you like, putting the chart show on across Southport, which came down the satellite back in the day. So, I mean, yeah, just great days for me. But my inspiration, yeah, Neil Fox. I used to listen to other broadcasters like Darren Proctor, again, who I've met Darren. I did a radio course in Liverpool, the Aerial Trust, where I learned the broadcasting industry, from making adverts, being creative with other aspects of the radio, getting box pops. And Darren Proctor, he gave me my radio certificate back in the day with my radio training. And again, I thought, wow, what a great guy to meet. I used to listen to him with the Smash Hits chart, which used to be on the EMAP stations back in the day. And again, Bauer should be using Darren Proctor now for the network chart. They should be using Darren, as should Neil. Neil should be still doing something across the whole network, which I'm sure he will be soon. But yeah, my inspirations, Darren Proctor and Neil Fox right at the top.
Our nation are part of a network.
Hopefully one day, dreams will happen again that, I'd kind of like to expect. But, the radio industry is it's a mad industry. Things change, people come, people go, people move about. It's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of work, I guess.
Yeah, one of my favorite presenters as well, who's currently not on any radio station at the moment. I don't think, she is, but Stephanie Hurst, as I mentioned.
I think Stephanie's on Hits Radio Pride now, actually. I think she's doing bits and pieces with the Hits Radio, so I'd check up on that. I think she's doing stuff now with Hits Radio Pride. So, yeah, Google on that, Ben. She's doing stuff. I think
she is. She does her kitchen.
She's gone from the that's it. She's gone from the BBC now, I think, to Bauer. So yeah, check up on that.
It's not she does bank holiday shows as well.
Yeah, Kitchen Belters is great, and again, a great show. And yeah, Stephanie's great broadcaster.
And I never knew Debbie Mack did the voice to the intro to it.
Yeah, Debbie Mack, again, another brilliant broadcaster. I grew up listening to her with Hairbrush Stevers back in the day on Century 105 for the Northwest. And again, radio was great back then. Great. You'd listen to Debbie Mack, you'd have Darren Proctor, and then you'd get Neil Fox on a Sunday. I mean, and also Smash Hits chart with Darren Proctor. They were just great radio days. But then even down to the EMAP days, Sean Tilley, brilliant. Kev Seed, brilliant. On the Rock FM at the time, there was Danny B, again, one of my radio idols. Baz Todd, another radio idol of mine as well. And again, working with Baz now at Mighty Radio now and again. We chat, but the radio industry is so small, Ben. I think everyone knows everyone in just a weird small way.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And lots of my colleagues have worked with Tony Blackburn and lots of other legends.
There's loads of them. I mean, Steve Wright, Radio 2, his birthday, August the 26th. And weird enough, my birthday's the same day. So I always think of Steve Wright on my birthday, even though I should be thinking of my radio idol.
Yeah, Neil Fox's birthday was a couple of weeks ago. I think he was 60, I believe.
60, yeah, the big 60. Yeah, he was. It was his birthday. I did wish him a happy birthday. And again, still got an amazing voice. He's not lost it. He's still incredible broadcaster. I just hope one day he brings back that network chart.
you might get your wish, because I think he probably listens to this and a couple of Bauer officials listen to these podcasts.
Well, I hope they do. I mean, if Bauer are listening, straight away, put Darren Proctor on that network chart. You've already got him part of the team. So use your talent that you've currently got in your network to your best advantage. And, you know, I say that to any management listening at the moment, you know, use the talent that you've got. And Darren Proctor, Smash Hits, back in the day, people still relate to him now. You know, Smash Hits isn't really there as a brand anymore, but why can't you bring it back and bring back Darren Proctor? The talent's already there on Bauer. Streamline him across the network. Hopefully someone might take that advice. But the thing with radio, Ben, is, you know, there's managers and managers, and, you know, they all get different says, and then there's contracts as well. It's just, it's a weird industry.
If I was the manager and they decided to, say, for example, drop said presenter from a show, I'd just, because if the fans had a massive outcry, I'd just reinstate him, because I'm a person who doesn't like to upset my listeners, because the listeners are the core base of the station.
It is hard. I mean, you know, a lot of it now with listenership and stats, if you like, can all fall down to what's called radar, which again, I don't really like to believe in the radar side anymore. They knock on doors, they get the stats, and then they times it by X amount of houses or postcodes, if you like, and that's where they get the stats from. Whereas I think the best way at the moment is the digital way. If you get it from servers, stream servers, you know, they're your true stats, if you like. But it's just it can be a weird industry. People move about, and you know, it is nature of the beast. If you can keep consistency is key. You know, I know when Coronation Street's on, I know when Emmerdale's on, and, you know, EastEnders is on. And I think the radio's kind of got to work in the same sort of way. Keep that consistency. The listener knows what they're going to get, and they know when they're going to get it.
Brilliant. Now that it's a good thing for community radio stations like yourself.
Yeah.
Do you do a bit for Liverpool Live?
I know people from Liverpool Live, so Rob Charles, John Jessup, Jonathan Dean, all great broadcasters. I worked with most of them during the June FM days, so I do communicate with the team. However, our radio station, Southport, is a community radio station for Southport. Liverpool Live's commercial for Liverpool. But we are in talks with all the stations around us, you know, because everyone knows everyone in broadcast. And if we can get on together, you know, great, which is a bonus with the industry because everyone knows everyone. But the radio station I work at, Mighty Radio, it's a community radio station for Southport and also surrounding areas of Southport. So we go out towards Preston, out towards Ormskirk, out towards Crosby. We don't really push in on Liverpool, so we're kind of like not in Liverpool Live's patch, if you like. So we're kind of like just on the right sort of TSA demographic, if you like, of where we hit.
So you keep him all friendship then?
Yeah, I mean, friendship's got to be great with, you know, stations because, you know, my rule of thinking is, one, you never know who you're going to bump into, and two, you never know who you're going to work with. And, you know, there's people, you know, I've bumped into other stations and then ended up working with them along the line. So, you know, you've got to keep your cool with everyone across the industry. And if you get on, you know, happy days, you know, there will always be cloak and daggers with businesses. And I think that's like that for not just radio, but for any business. Business is business, but if you make friends along the way, you know, brilliant. And if you stay friends with them from start to finish, an absolute bonus.
Yeah, because lots of radio presenters doing well for themselves, and a lot of them unfortunately aren't on air as much as they'd like.
Well, that is an issue with, yeah, the networking side when big stations buy out small stations and then, you know, people lose jobs. I've been there before. I worked at a radio station called June FM. It was run by Forward Media. Then it transitioned to the local radio company, which I had a job, which was my dream job for ages. And then the local radio company got sold to a company called Niocom. And then I was kind of like safe for a year with my contract, if you like, with Toupay. And then after that year had finished, I was made redundant. And when I got made redundant in the job that I loved, I'll be honest with you, I cried. Because a job that you love, that you've got the whole passion for, that you love. I was tearful when I lost my job in radio, and then I ended up moving to a TV channel to sell holidays and cruises. Enjoyed that job again, brilliant job, and then I got a knock on my doorstep asking if I'd like to work in radio again, and I thought, you know what, radio was always my dream. With no hesitation, I took the job, and I now manage a radio station in my hometown with 30 other people with us. It's just living the dream at the moment, if you like, Ben.
Same with me. I get to interview my idols on this program, and on my other programs, I get to interview people for the local radio station of Hull. Like, I got Bruno Brooks. I'm in talks with James Whale, Carl Kingston, many more.
Yeah. All great names, all brilliant names in the industry. And, as I said to you earlier on, everyone knows everyone. It's a weird circuit, from Southport, someone knows someone in Liverpool, Liverpool knows someone in Manchester, Manchester knows someone in, Sheffield, and then Leeds, and then York. And then it's just it's a map of stations where they all kind of like interlink in a magical, weird way.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. It's networking, talking to people. And somebody actually said on my previous podcast, which I may send you a link to, it's good that things have become network because it's giving local stations a big gap, filling the gap.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think give it maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, I'm not saying the tables would turn back again, but who's to say that Global or Bauer don't transition the stations back to local stations again, because they might have made a mistake. But you are right in terms of there is a local gap in the market now for the community stations or local independent stations that want a shot at small scale DAB or DAB. There is a lot of gaps in the market for the stations now that there is networking. But again, as much as I love Ofcom, would I have kept the Global and Bauer network all local generated stations? My answer to that probably would have been yes, because the local content is key for any listener. You can get a station coming from London across to, say, Southport, for example, but they can't tell you the road closures in Southport. They can't give you the local news in Southport. You're only getting the national content, really. Take Heart, for example, coming from Manchester. They won't give us a story based in Southport. They're going to give us the news of Manchester. And I think networking, it's good in ways for sharing talent, for presenters. But again, for local content, I think the content is key. And I think, give it a few years from now, tables might reverse, but that is just my opinion.
Yeah, brilliant. Is it question 4 next?
Question number 3 next.
Yeah, sorry, getting sidetracked again. What is your favourite part about the job? Question 3.
My favourite part about the job is being able to listen to the music, which obviously music is my passion. I love music, but also bringing a smile to the listener. And what I mean by that is, I've been shopping before now at the local supermarket, and you bump into someone that you've not seen for ages, and they'll go like, "Oh, I was listening to you on the radio the other day. What a great show! And you gave me a mention. It made me day." And it's things like that, that make my job the happiest part. Helping the community as well. We've done some fundraising events where we've managed to raise funds for certain things, and then we get that massive thanks at the end. And it is worthwhile. So for me, again, the local content, and it all plays a huge part, if you want me to be honest with you, Ben.
And it's brilliant, and also for example, lots of radio. I like to, when I'm off this podcast and when I'm off the radio, I like to tell people I'm a radio presenter.
That's great. Brilliant.
Yeah, because not many people recognise me as a radio presenter because they wouldn't think I would be, but my voice
Well,
tells them
it's
different.
free marketing for your radio station at the end of the day. If you
And
tell
one of my
people,
favourite songs to play on my radio station is Easy Lover, Phil Collins, Phil Bailey.
Yeah, great song. Great song.
Have you played it on your station?
Many times, Phil Collins. Yeah, In the Air Tonight, The Mellows at Night, in the evening. Two Hearts, always a classic by Phil Collins. He's had some great songs, Phil Collins.
Here's a stat for you. Tony Blackburn appeared in that music video.
Never knew that. See, you learn something new. Now that I know that, I can talk about that on the radio.
And also he appeared in I Am a Cider Drinker by the Wurzels.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah, because someone told me that and I had to analyse the video just to have a look at it because I like to analyse music videos before I go on air. And I know the charts because I've been talking to a lot of chart show hosts over the last 6 months.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and Bruno Brooks got a bit of controversy on one of the Radio 1 chart shows because he played Killing. It was Killing in the Name of.
Yeah, by Rage Against the Machine.
It was deemed something was wrong with it, I think.
It went Christmas #1, that song, a few years back. Don't quote me on the year, but it did go Christmas #1 a few years ago, that Rage Against the Machine. It was battling it out against the X Factor winner, and it went straight to #1.
A certain X Factor winner.
And now I sound like Neil Fox are giving you the chart rundown.
Yep, again, Neil Fox needs to be on the Bauer chart.
The Doctor.
He can do better than the current people they have on board.
That's it.
I'd have hired him months ago.
That's it, yeah. Brilliant broadcaster.
And he'd have got the Bauer charts ratings back up.
Well, hopefully he'll be on a network chart soon. So, we'll have to, wait and see.
He did do the Heritage chart.
Yeah, I used to listen to that on a Nation Radio. Brilliant chart show. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
Syndicated by Mike Reed.
Yeah, brilliant broadcasters.
Yep. Yeah, because the thing about the Heritage chart was they played a classical song from the artist and then a new album.
Yeah, that's the one.
And I like that style. Yep. Question 4. How has COVID affected your life and line of work?
At the moment, it has been a little bit different. Start of the pandemic, it was. Obviously, when we had that full national lockdown, obviously, you weren't allowed to leave home. You had to stay in. It was a huge thing when the pandemic first kicked off. I remember it well because I was DJing. So I play to bars on a Friday, Saturday night. So it's good in a way because I get to feel what the audience like with the music side. I can actually push it out on the radio then as well. But when the bars shut overnight, literally the pandemic hit pretty much straight away with you can't go home, you've got to stay indoors. And for the radio side, we had to do a lot of it remotely. So we would hook up basically microphones from home, if you like, where you can then dial into the playout system, remotely dial into the playout system at the radio station and be able to broadcast your radio show from home. Some people have done it from the sheds. Mine's funny enough from my wardrobe, which is right behind me, and it's open. It's got my microphone in and my laptop in. It's been a bit of a random one with the COVID side. In terms of business as a whole, we've just carried on like any other radio station in terms of, keeping the music on, keeping the programs on. But yeah, the COVID in general, it has been an interesting one, if you want me to be honest with you. With businesses being forced to shut, it has been hard for the advertising industry in terms of the sales side, if you like, for going out and getting airtime. But again, it's bouncing back now with businesses reopened again. And the broadcast industry's getting better now, really. It's kind of growing again with the small scale DAB muxes that are ready to pop up. Same for the DAB muxes in general across the UK. So I think we are going to see a bit of a bounce back within the industry, and hopefully a bounce back with the country in general, with the economy.
Yeah, and also I do half my broadcasting at the studio, but I do my other half at home.
But it's best to be safe, Ben. If you can do it from home, great. If you can still get the listener involved with some interaction, brilliant. If it doesn't sound any different and it sounds the way you want it to sound on a professional approach, then, brilliant. Why not? Keep yourself safe at the moment.
Like I do my link recording in the studio, but I do my interviews here.
Yeah.
And we're about socially distanced by about 150 miles, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Where are you from, Ben?
Hull.
Hull. Yes, that's Yorkshire way. I mean, I love Hull. But yeah, I'm Southport way. So I'm basically, we're on the opposite side of the map, if you like.
We're
if
socially distanced by mountains and other cities, so we're safe.
Yeah, that's it. On the other, I'm on one side of the coast. You're on the other side of the coast. But yeah, wow,
we're safe.
That's it.
I joke that I travelled to these places, so I didn't really travel to Fulham to interview Neil Fox.
Well, Hull, they had the highest stats of COVID, didn't they, to begin with?
I didn't really travel to London to interview Neil Fox.
That's right.
But I did. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We've actually travelled there.
That's the one.
Yeah, brilliant. Question 5.
That's the one.
Advice, last question on the list, by the way. What advice would you give to young, aspiring broadcasters who are starting out?
I would say learn as much as you can, because, I remember it well. If you're given the opportunity, take the opportunity, because it's hard in this industry. There's so many people that want jobs in radio. There's loads of people that are waiting to work in radio, because a lot of people want to get into the media, but sometimes it's hard because you can only have so many people at a business at a time, because you can only manage so many people. So what I would say is, if you can get an opportunity to get experience, whether that's work experience, or whether that's an open day, or being able to have a chat with the station manager, or a natter over a cup of tea, get whatever opportunity you can with the radio station that you apply for, and learn as much as you can whilst you're there, whether that's taking in information on what's going on to put a radio show together, or how adverts are made, or how the radio station is scheduled or managed or run. Just work with the people that are there, taking as much information as you can, and just learn from it really, and get as much experience as you possibly can. That's what I would say. If you can multitask in the radio industry, that's a really good advantage. If you can do parts of presentation, parts of the marketing, parts of the sales, parts of the journalism as well, if you could, there's more advantages if you can multitask. But just learn as much as you can, and from as many great people as you can as well. Do you know what I mean? Because the radio industry is so small. I've learned from different people along the way. So people that have set up Rock FM, which is it was Red Rose, now Rock FM. I've learned from people like Mark Matthews that were brilliant in their job, in what they were doing. Mike Vitti, who again was a brilliant managing director at the time when I was at the local radio company.
John Myers.
Quite a lot from Mike. John Myers, Century Radio. I've not really, John's a brilliant guy in what he was doing for Century. But again, networking with the radio industry as a whole. I learned all the networking side with the local radio company at the time, with David Green, Chris Marsden, again, Mike Vitti, who I mentioned before, and Mark Matthews. Gordon Davidson as well, who's another great guy from learning from, even down to like other producers along the way. Loads of great people out there. And the industry is so small, and you don't realize it until you talk to someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows someone. It's such a small industry. But working with people that have set up radio stations, I'm glad that I kind of learned from them, because I've had to have that on my shoulders with Mighty Radio. When we set Mighty Radio up, I set everything up from the studio side, from the technical side, to the play out side, to the station sound side of things, making sure all our volunteers are working with the broadcasting code, with the Ofcom broadcasting code, everything from start to finish of making a radio station. So, I think if you can multitask and if you can learn from as many people as you can, it will kind of go in your advantage. And, I thank pretty much everyone that I've learned from. Jonathan Dean, he was the guy that kind of taught me everything from the start, from June FM. And, he's ran June FM. He's gone on to Radio City. He's worked at other bigger stations before June FM as well. And again, it's just down to people that you meet along the way and just learning what you can. And I think, the best advice I can give to, aspiring broadcasters is just learn what you can and learn as much as you can, and get any opportunity given. Take it. Yeah, that's all I can say, Ben, really.
Brilliant. That's it for today. Thank you for joining us, Paul.
No problem, Ben, anytime.
Do join me again for another Chatbox podcast, but for now, please give it up for the legendary Paul Tasker.
Hey!
Thank you very much for watching and listening. But for now, that's a wrap.